Alrighty, go for it.
Yeah, yeah. So it was something we talked about yesterday. It's just um, whenever you don't have any follow through on selling pressure, then I'm a little more comfortable to hold there.
Yeah.
And then I should have held it longer, but I think getting knife on ABC earlier too, I was a little more hesitant and took out. Actually, it was phone sapien. I think we were talking about that yesterday. Um, I I'm gonna go back over it again because you're in now. But I know you had talked about or asked about stops yesterday.
Right.
So this is like the perfect example today. So there's this flag right here, and I entered right off this like orb level, close to that 8. It broke it, but look at the volume on this. Like there's no volume. So even though normally, and I could have even like sold it and then re-entered, but it popped down, and I was like looked, and I was like, oh, there's absolutely no volume. So I waited, and if there was going to be more and more selling, as soon as selling were to hit the tape, I would sell,
Yeah.
And yeah, I might risk a little bit more down here, but I was just waiting for selling, and nothing came, and it just slowly came back up. So that's something where, like, it doesn't really kill the play because it sucks it right back up. And eventually it does end up dying here, but you can still, get a little bit of move here.
Yeah, probably on the
So,
tape there was a lot of bidders stepping up down there. Because, like, with the 1 minute, that's why I hate using the 1 minute. Because the 1 minute looks like the play is over, but then you look at the 5 minute and you can clearly see how it sucked right up.
yeah, yep. And look how much volume is on this candle compared to the
Very light.
previous.
Yeah, it's very light.
So that was something that I wanted to point out. And then the other thing I was going to point out was this ABCT knife because I was in
Oh,
it.
shit.
Yeah, but I was really quick on this out. So one thing that I've kind of this is a long day. I was like, where is it? Here it is. One thing I've come accustomed to is whenever I'm waiting for these pullbacks, you have to be like super quick, right? And so whenever things pull back, a lot of time like I can barely even see how much volume there is and everything. So this thing jumps down, and so I slammed the buy button twice. If I was really confident, I'd be hitting it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Um, but since I saw it jump down and hit twice, and I paused because I was like, okay, and I looked down, and there was on the 1 minute, I forget how tall this candle was already, but it was probably already like way too high. And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh shit, and I went over and hit sell twice, and I screenshot it. I sent it in the random group or whatever it's called, the one below, whatever it's called, the random chat.
Yeah, I
And
think I remember that
I
in the
was
morning.
Yeah, it was legit 2 seconds, and I mean I was down like $70, which isn't crazy, but it could have been a lot worse. I think I ended up stopping. I bought somewhere. I think it was like actually because as soon as it starts going down, I was buying. I think I got filled at like 253, and I like hovered there for a second. I was like, oh shit, I VWAP. And I looked, saw the high volume, and I hit sell, and I think I got 247 on the sell, and the next one, which is instant sell, was like 235. So like it goes so quick. Um, so that's something that is really good to be aware of. No matter what flag you're playing, what entry you're taking, things can drop off rings. So you got to be watching everything like a hawk, and be really quick on reacting to things.
Yeah,
So,
you did a good
but
job on reacting to that. I know a lot of people got caught in that. Some even went short, like Mikey. Mikey said that was his
oh
best
yeah,
short.
yeah, there you go. That's awesome. Yeah, I could have hit that sell button a couple more times.
I would have probably
um,
paid.
yeah, honestly, but yeah, but then I don't really like that stuff. But the flag itself, I mean, it looked good. It was coming up here, high volume. The initial pullback was light. I was waiting for it to hit that orb level, or maybe even a little below that 265 is what I had marked. Um, and That was
offering.
an L for me today.
Yeah, believe it or not, I seen that 5 minute flag on AVCT, and once it started curling up through 270s, I felt like I was like for me, I was like today I kind of sized up on majority of the names. So when I was looking at that, I'm
Nice.
like, all right, this is like 5 cents or 10 cents from where I wanted it. Now I'm gonna risk more than I wanted to risk, so I'm not even gonna get in it. And so I didn't get in it, and oh holy shit, it's snowing outside. Anyways, so I
What?
yeah, it's freaking snowing right now.
Where are you at?
Michigan.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
anyways,
85 here.
oh shit, lucky you, man. It's freaking 41 degrees where I'm at.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then when I started seeing it extend through 270s, I'm like, let me just sit it out. And I'm glad I did because literally 2 minutes later, offering came
Yeah.
in, and that play was shot down.
Yeah. That's for sure. And then the rest of my day, I ended up, I was telling Saul this too. I ended up trading SLXS and just not sticking to 5 minute flags. And it cost me, but luckily I was able to come back and be pretty much break even. A little green. I was so happy to be green because I'm still rocking my October no red day.
Nice.
So I was ready to take it today, but we ended like $3 green. I'm done trading. I don't even care if this
Hey,
flies.
green is green.
Yeah. So it was not my best day, but good learning day.
Yeah, at least you ended break even.
Yeah, exactly. And the ABCT could have been a lot worse. So
It could have, yeah.
So yeah, that's it from me. Those are really the two big things I wanted to go over as far as lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, for myself, it's just I need to be more disciplined tomorrow. Today, I had a big day yesterday, so I think sometimes coming off big days, I get a little more restless. Today was also it's pretty slow, at least for a while. I knew it was gonna pick up, but I just wasn't patient enough.
Yeah, the morning was definitely slow, and then afternoon came in, and everything changed, though. Like, I feel like once comms ran, everything else
Yeah,
just started following.
yeah. A lot of times, that's all it needs is one runner, and then people start getting FOMO.
Yeah, literally. But yeah, I think you managed it well. I know there's probably someone out there who got caught in that stuff, and they were probably like, fuck.
Yeah, it's a big stuff.
Yeah.
23% from the top on the first 1 minute candle, which probably took 3 seconds to get down there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're sized up on it, somebody
Yeah.
will,
Someone out there got
exactly.
caught in it.
yeah.
Yep, that's for sure.
It's,
Yeah.
it's super fast.
Yep, that it was. But that's it for me. If you wanna share your screen, solid.
Yeah, I'll take over. Let me get my Discord minimized there. Get my screen shared. Where is it? Right over here. Alright, so comms, I guess since it's already open, I'll go over it. So comms, I played it earlier in the morning. We kind of had this 5 minute flag set up over here. Low VPA pullback into our EMA. You could see this was our previous resistance. It was holding as support. I'll mark that level there for you. And so we got in. I believe I had 7-1 average, so I got long and I dipped into 7s. Had a nice move into 8s. I was peeling profits along the way. And then try to find the messages. Man, there were so many trades today. I don't know if I'll be able to find these messages, but somewhere up here.
Did you not buy it when at the 8 on the first time down?
Yeah, I got long right on this pivot. So I guess,
Yeah,
it also lines up with the 8.
I mean before that. Like,
Oh, over here?
yeah, right there. See how the...
No, I didn't even see it. I think I was watching it, but it was already making its move. Then, we came down, so I was like...
Would you take that one? Like, see the big red candle?
Right over here?
But yeah, right there.
No, not really, because I would have waited for it to reset down to maybe the 7/6 areas. Because if you look in here, there really isn't a pivot. The only pivot we had here was the 9 cent area. And when we broke through it, we obviously couldn't hold 9 cents. So yeah, the next pivot for me would have been right around here in the 7s area. And that's where I actually started getting long. You could go off this pivot over here, which is 7/2s. Could go off this resistance 7/5s, but yeah, overall right here, this is just like another thing with this is like open, open volatility. So there's a high probability that it doesn't really continue unless you get like, it did have high volume, but like look at this stuff candle, it's like all selling. Where is it? Oh, I guess I didn't call it out here. Maybe I called it in the stock chat. Anyways, so I got long on this kind of 5-minute 3-bar, 5-minute flag setup. Made a move into 8s. You can see, low volume pullback. Buyers started stepping in. High volume push here. And then once we started coming down, I actually let it go red. And once it went red, it was kind of quick for me. And, I cut. Overall, it was like a break-even trade because I was peeling some off here. So I had smaller size, kind of ate the profits away into, into the 7s. So I exited the trade there, and then I should have, I don't know why the box is not here anymore, but I did have a box drawn like this later in the day once I noticed that these 7s were firming up. Overall, didn't get the ads in there. I believe I was playing something else at this time. And then later in the day, I wrote in the stock chat, I remember that comms was, getting over these highs. I'll draw that trend line for you as well. Maybe I cleared my drawings. I don't know why they're not here anymore. Anyways, so we get that move, through the highs, and then I remember writing in the stock chat, comms, please give me a flag. Like I put the prayer emojis and everything. I'm like, give me a 5-minute flag over highs, please. So that's exactly what happened. We came through highs. We got a nice 5-minute. I guess you could say 4-bar if you want to call it. But overall, this was a flag to me. So we got a nice flag, low VPA. Got long on the comms flag. I want to see if the messages are still here. I guess if I go here, I'll probably find it. Yeah, right over here. So right here we got comms, 5-minute flag over highs, 1:22 p.m. in this area. Got long, I believe my average was 9. Let me check my orders real quick. My average was 9 something, I believe. So I had low 9s in this one. I believe I got long on one of these dips. So overall risk was, off of this candle over here. That was the pre-market high area as well. So we had a nice 5-minute flag there. This thing just erupted. Like you see another picture of the flag. Like the buyers stepped in, and I honestly think there was, other, discords on this clearly because this was a massive move. So I'm like 12% here. Coops is complimenting me on the trade, good trade. End up opening up into 11. And if we go to the daily, I was getting all these levels. So right here I was like, okay, 9/7's got to hold. We get our move up into 10s. Then we get our move up into 12. Over 12, we could squeeze into 12/7s. Over 12/7s, we squeeze into like 14. Then over 14, we get the move into 15. Over 15, we could possibly have a move into 17. And so like if I start marking all these levels here, you're going to see that every level pretty much hit. I'm not going to mark every single one for you, but just to kind of give you guys an idea of like how I'm getting these take profit areas. And let me go back to the chart now. You can see, they started hitting up here. Anyways, so comms watching 10 level psych to hold. This was on the pullback. Once we got over 10, I was looking for 10s to hold. This is a psych level. More bidders started stepping in. More buyers started stepping in as well, and this thing just went parabolic. Right after this leg up and then this kind of hammer and hold of the 10 area, this thing started opening up. That's where I was like, okay, comms are up 25% here, scaling more. Over 12 cents, we can see 14s. So we get our move into 12s. More volume starts coming in. You see the volume slowly stepping up on the 5-minute. And then, we got that huge move into 14. So that was like right about here. And I took a screenshot. I was like, comms, I was going wild. Coops is complimenting me. We're all happy about it. And then comms just erupts. Right when it gets over 14, the volume just try to go to a 3 minute, see how high the volume, like, so I give you an example of how it came in. But yeah, it ended up stuffing, but so we'll go back to the 5. Anyways, just volume stair stepped up. So many buyers came flooding in, like 18 mil in volume, flew up to 17s. At this point, we were up 66% on the trade. I was scaling out along the ways. So as we were rising, I'm just peeling off. Like, this thing's moving so fast that when I was clicking market, my market order would literally get dragged up with it. So like I was kind of being helped out in a way. And then right over here, where was it? Right over here, I'm like, comms 5-minute 3-bar. Didn't end up working out. I thought we were going to 3-bar into more highs. But by this time, I believe it was on this pullback back into 14s. That's when I was out of my remaining piece. And then I have a screenshot on my Twitter of it. Right over here, so comms 5-minute flag over highs. You know, we got that first move. This is the move into 17. We actually banked 72% on that trade. So that trade like really, really woke up. It was really, really nice. After...
Sorry, not.
Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, not to interrupt, but also, if anybody did read chapter 4 and 5, the selling climax, they kind of talked about a lot. And like one of the biggest way you can tell that like everyone's exiting their position, you have those huge, massive 5-minute bars with.
Yep.
You got that shooting star, and you got a
lot of dojis.
Decisive one exit. Like that is selling climax there. Like
Yeah, clear as day.
Yeah.
Another thing is like another thing to put on top of what you just. I agree with everything you just said. You know, by textbook. But another thing is like common sense. You bought here, now you're all the way up here. Like, why wouldn't you start selling, you know? Or if you bought here, for example, you know, like there's obviously going to be so much selling pressure. And I remember on the daily, you could see, you look left, this thing pops, sells off, pops, sells off, pops, sells off. So like if we did get over 17, sure, we could have probably hit 18 and all. But that's a great point you made, just Ben. You know, there's a lot of, you know, telling signs. And I remember the level 2, every time we came up here, we were just getting heavy. And once we got rejected here and I exited, I believe, on this candle around the 15, my last piece, I didn't really care. It was just like, I was so hyped up that I remember I literally texted RCB. I'm like, yo, I need to walk away for a second, man. I'm too hype right now. And I actually literally like got off my setup and, you know, I went and had some lunch and whatnot. But overall, great trade. Then I plotted these lines, I believe, when the stock was trading over here. I was looking for like a breakout, you know, maybe a flag over 15 cents. Maybe we try and get new highs into the power hour. Overall, that didn't happen, so there was no position for me in this one over here. But that was a really nice trade, man. This one opened up really, really nicely for us, and you know, we got to bank on it.
Got a little bit of that one too. Where did you enter? Did you enter at the while it was pushing down, or did you enter at the break of it? Your first entry.
My first entry was right over here on the 5-minute flag. Let me drag this down. So it was right here in this 5-minute flag, kind of 3-bar. Once we pulled into our 7 area pivot, I noticed bidders were stepping in, so that's where I wanted to be a buyer as well. Got long here, had our move into 8s. I was taking some profits off, then ultimately, you know, got stopped out on the remaining piece. So overall, this one was a break even. Then this one over here, once we flagged over highs. Oh, sorry, I got a text. Once we flagged over highs, I got long here, looking for my trade line to hold, and overall, just looking for the 9-cent area to hold. That's why I started entering near 9, because if you look left, this is our pre-market resistance, and it was also our highs here. So now I wanted to hold this. I wanted to see this area hold as support, and like that's exactly what happened. So this was like kind of, you could say, a picture-perfect trade. You know, 5-minute flag, descending VPA, and then buyers come in and they ramp it up for you. There was another one in the morning. I believe I took the L on majority of it. I believe I walked out kind of break even, but not really. Like a really small red. So this one over here, I remember 3-minute time frame I was on. We got a downtrend break. I didn't get long on the retest. I was like, okay, ZVO, I'm looking for the 28 area to hold as support. Right over here, ZVO, watching for 28 to come support. Reason for that was, you know, simply our pre-market highs. I was looking for a retest, you know, right when we broke this level. We didn't get it. We started extending into 33s, which was actually a daily level, and I'll show you that. you see, this is our daily range right here. All support finally turns into resistance. So we got our pop into 33s, and then I remember saying that if we get over 33, we can make a move into 38. That didn't happen clearly. We then started, painting this this bull flag here. I believe I took some 29 pivot, yeah. So right when we got our first dip into 29s, I got long somewhere in this candle, and my risk was off 28 because that was our pre-market highs. Initially, I wanted 28s, so the position here that I did take was not as heavy as I intended it to be. So over high day, room to 38s. We'll update more levels if we get there. So ultimately, I think we had a little pop into like 32s. I remember scaling some off. Then, we started coming down. Then that's when I, drew this line. I noticed we were setting up this bigger picture 5-minute flag. Mikey joined in it. Then it was L's for me. Once we broke this 29 pivot, it was cut. Then, this starts telling me, thank you for your shares, whatever. Mikey's like, add more here. And then I was like looking to re-add if we can hold 28s. Like 28s was my initial entry that I wanted. We ended up coming down to 28s on, kind of lower volume. I believe it was on the 1 minute. We kind of hung around there for a second. Yeah, right over here into the 28 pivot. So you can see that's where I got long again, 28.5. Then I was like, wanted 28 since this morning, haha, whatever. And then we had a few pops into 29. I believe I took a small piece off at 29. And then ultimately we flushed. Right when we flushed through the VWAP right over here, I kind of gave it a little more wiggle room than I should have. I should have cut right off this 28 pivot. But I kind of seen this happen so many times where, you flush through a support level. We kind of had this wick here. So I was thinking, okay, we're going to flush into VWAP. More buyers will step in. We'll suck up. Then we'll eventually start moving. Obviously, that didn't happen. And so I cut kind of at the bottom of this candle somewhere in the 27 area. Overall, good idea. 5-minute flag setup I would take any day. However, this one just had more buyers than sellers, so it couldn't really get it going. I remember later in the day, I was watching it off this lower trend line. Don't remember if I added any there. Let me double check. I'm just going to go through the chat because if I did, we'll see it in here. EQOS, there was this one here. There was a 5-minute flag. So I got long on this one. 10:09 a.m. Where was it? I believe it was right over here, somewhere in this area. Let me double check my orders, see exactly what time it was. EQOS 40 cents at EQOS 10:09 a.m. So where's 10:09 a.m.? Oh yeah, right over here. So EQOS, we kind of have this 5-minute setup here. Kind of 3-minute setup right over here. Got long, I believe it was EQOS. Yeah, right over here, 10:09. Got long 47 cents. Wow, okay, I had no reason to be trading it up here now that I look at it. So I guess what I was looking at is kind of this 5 minutes, or it must have been a 1-minute setup. Yeah, right over here. So we got this 1-minute flag. Got long 47, got the move into 49. Let me see if I took any profits off into 49. Yes, I took some off 48, 49, then ultimately got stopped out 45s, 44s. So on this flush, I actually stopped out. I remember I was looking for a quick scalp on it. Yeah, 48 daily level. Over this, we could get jiggy. Reason why I decided to add up here, and now I do remember, is we had this 48 level right here. Where was it? I believe it was right here, yeah. So we had this 48 level, and we came up to it, and I was saying, okay, we get over 48, could possibly make the move into 50s. 51 would have been our first target, and then ultimately 55s, 54s. So this one had range, and I remember, that's most likely why I decided to add up here. But like looking at it now, I had no business being here. I should have waited for a better entry because obviously this one did fail. It was very extended. So I guess I could blame it on a little bit of FOMO. Watching this 45 close, yeah, I remember when we came down, I didn't stop out exactly. I did have a smaller piece left. Overall, it was a red trade. I remember, we started hovering over 45, which was this previous high area over here. Then I remember here ultimately when we did break it, I did sell out, and that's why I was getting filled at 44s and 45s. Sorry. So overall red trade on there. Nice flag though. Cut EQS cash for now. Oh yeah, another thing. I remember when AVCT started coming down really hard. You can see the move here. I remember when that started coming down, a lot of other small caps were coming down with it. And I believe the reason for that was just because, a lot of people, they see such a big move like that to the downside. They're going to start, liquidating their positions and whatnot. So I remember I did kind of have a feeling that played a factor into it, because you could see, we came up and just right when AVCT had its big move down, everything else started coming down with it. So I do believe that had something to do with it, but, it is what it is. Let's see what else there was. Added draw off 5-minute flag retest. This one was a nice one. We ended up getting new highs on it, kind of a scalp trade if you would call it. So I believe right over here in the 129 area we had this pivot. Kind of nice 5-minute flag right here, descending VPA. Also had this trend line, and I remember sending a screenshot right here on the 1 minute, kind of a trend line test where we were adding right up here. We ended up coming up into 140s, took profits off there. You can see volume coming in on the flag break. Pulled back into our trend line. You can see it right here. I'll make it longer. I wasn't in the trade by then. Come back here, come back up to 144s. I decided to get out of my trade. I believe I had, let me check my average on that. Oh, cool. I can just search up the tickers. Jug, I had 133 average, so it would have been somewhere right in here. Got the move up here, took some off 140s. Let this thing come down to the trade line. Took more off at 144, and that was actually my last take profit. Ended up hitting a high at 148, and then, we ended up breaking trend and whatever coming down. What else was there? Yeah, this was drug. I did trade it on my Weeble, so there's a little P&L screenshot for it. What else? HLBZ added this. Oh yeah, this was a nice one. So HLBZ, Dom said it in the stock chat. Really nice 5-minute flag setup right here. And so I believe it was right here. So we got long on this 5-minute flag. HLBZ, I had 38 average. So right in here, as close as I could to this previous high area pivot. Honestly, when I first looked at it, I remember I was like this doesn't look the best on the 1 minute. Like, what's my risk gonna be off of? And I was trying to say, okay, maybe 38 twos, and then I was like, all right, here it is, 37 fours. This is gonna be my risk. So I got long. The average exactly was 38.85. It's kind of closer to 39s. Ultimately just another flag setup. Low VPA pullback into your pivot. Buyers step in. You get a massive move to the upside. And I remember as well on this one, I was looking at the daily. What is this? Oh, there's some analysis from the past. Overall, I was looking at the daily. I was looking for the move through 43, so we could get 48s, and then ultimately we get 54s. And I believe I was updating it in chat. Yeah, there it was at 38.84. Teamwork make the dream work. Look for those 42s to base. Squeeze it into 49s here. Yeah, I remember ultimately 49s was my main target. We ended up getting a squeeze into 49s right over here, 49.50. End up pulling back. There's a screenshot of our high of 49. End up pulling back, holding our 43 area. I was out of it by then because, like I said, my goal for it was 49s. So once we got as close as I could to that 49 area, I got out of the position. EQOS, 5-minute flag here. Where was that exactly? 11:43 a.m. right around here. Assume it's right here. Yep. Or I believe it would be right here. Yeah. So right here, kind of 5-minute flag, 3-bar setup. This is all like the same things. Just 5-minute flags. Nice bar up, low VPA pullback into a pivot. In this case, our pivot would have been our previous high a day, which would have been right around this area. So on this one, what was my average? I had 40 cent average. I ended up adding more at 40 cents. Took some profits off into 41, so I had 40 cents down here. I believe risk was off 39.5 because that was the previous high. Took some off into 41s, took some off into 43s. So right there, and then my final take profit was on a pullback into 42. So we kind of caught, I guess you could say the top ticks here. Then as we start pulling back, I took the rest off at 42. So like nice little 5-minute, flag scalps, you can call them. So that was that. Edit EQS, yeah, that was our move into VWAP here. Ended up extending through it. VWAP break can give us 43, 44. High of 43.6, look for 42 daily level to hold up. I'll go to the daily, show you guys that level. This was our 42 level on the daily. You can see it was a previous high from this area. Over that, we could extend into 43s. And that's why I was like, VWAP break can give us 43, 44. Overall, great trade, It didn't really open up how you want, but then that's where, watching the tape and the level 2 gives you the idea of when you should be getting out to protect your profits and when you should be holding for more. And then, yeah, so that was that. ZVO is watching on, the lower trend line here. EQS 5-minute flag breaking more, still riding a small piece. That was 11:59 a.m. I don't know if I re-added. No, yeah, that was right into here when we got this little extension. Overall sold out. EQOS, as long as we hold 42, 43, I think we can attempt higher. And I believe when we cracked, that's when I actually got out of my last piece. ZVO, I was watching this lower trend line for bidders to start showing up. Overall, bidders didn't show up. And you can see we broke our trend line, continued lower. So there was no ads for me on that. HLBZ, I remember I got back in this with Mikey. We traded it up here near the highs. I believe I was on the 3-minute, not 100% sure. I smacked some at 48 on the dip into 48s. I believe it was right over here, yeah. So right into this kind of, into this pivot. I remember Mikey was saying he's looking for the breakout, so I'm like, all right, let's go. Mikey's a great trader. Obviously, I'm going to follow his trade. But, like, it wasn't all about just him calling it out. I did kind of see it, like we're coming up, we're sucking back up, we're coming down, we're sucking back up. You can see it right here. And what time is that? It was 12:17. So yeah, I would have been right into this pivot, smacked some 48, ended up getting the move into 53s. Pretty sure I was on the 5-minute. So we get this dip down, then right away smack some, get the move into 53s. I remember I was peeling some off 52. Overall, we came down, and then we just started kind of consolidating. Then when we got this 48 break over here, that's when I exited the last piece. So it's kind of a break-even trade. Then right here, grabbed some eye lag. Had a nice 5-minute flag setup. Another one. So first we played that flag, and that one failed yesterday. And then we had, where is this flag today?
The last one that you were talking about, where you took it, and it was a good trade, but do you not see that as overextended after like the third, fourth flag that it already did? Just in general, I'm saying anything.
In general, yeah. So like, yeah, this was overextended, and so when I was getting in this, because I played it over here. So if I ever,
see, like, flags already, right?
yeah, if I ever jump back into something that I already played before, I won't always take the same size, and that's because obviously I feel that it's extended, and if we do have to take the L on it. You don't want to take, a huge L because you already got a big win over here from here, all the way up to here. So yeah, I had smaller size on this. I didn't really like put in the same amount of money that I did back here, and that's obviously because we were extended. But normally, like when you're in the zone and a trader like Mikey, when Mikey says he wants to see something, it usually happens, So I was pretty confident in that, and I was like, all right, let's take smaller size. Let's see if we can start opening up. A lot of people started getting on it. Fitz started getting on it. Mikey started getting on it. So I was like, all right, let's see what happens. Overall, shorts just.
You already made money on the trade. Then you go. What if you didn't trade this at all? Would you still go in?
That would be completely different. If I didn't catch this flag over here, and I was trying to come up here, I would have probably tried to play it off this pivot. And I remember Dom actually texted me like, yo, check out this 5-minute pivot here, daily level. But yeah, if we were up here and I didn't play it at all, and this was the only move I seen, yeah, no, I wouldn't have gotten in it for the simple fact of it is extended. But when you play it and you make a little bit of money, yeah, you can start kind of, I guess you could say, lotto in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah. Moving on to iLeg. That 5-minute flag set up. What time was that? That was 12:27. Right over here in this area. Yup, right here. Kind of had this 5-minute flag set up into our VWAP area, also our previous pivot. Damn, why did it zoom out so much? Kind of holding over VWAP, nice 5-minute flag. Grad small eye lag. I remember I did take smaller size on this just because I remember I wasn't as confident in it, just because I kind of got faked out on it yesterday, kind of on the same move. So I was like, all right, let's see if we can get the 325 area break. We did get 325s, push up into 328s. I believe I took some off 326, 327. And then overall, I believe I exited it just because there was really no volume. So I know you asked me yesterday, like, what do you do if the trade is like working, but there's not volume, your stop loss wasn't hit? At this time, yeah, I cut the last piece on this pullback into 322s. So it was kind of break even on the last piece. And I was like, it still looks good, just light volume. And the reason I did that was because when I was in this position, there was so many other names around me that were running with real volume. So when this thing kind of didn't give me that volume I wanted, I was like, all right, you know what, let me just get out of this. There's so many other names running. There's no point for me to just sit in here and babysit it. So, you know, I cut that last piece for a break even. So overall, small win on it. Then here's that comms trade. We already went over that one. What else? Yeah, here's comms extending. I know there was a few more on the day. Pally 5-minute flag. This one is kind of a scalp trade. So call out the flag down here in the 10s, I believe. Yeah, right here in the 10s. Believe I was filled at a pretty good average. Let me find it. Got some at 11 cents. So I guess it was, where the hell was this flag? Oh, right over here. So we kind of had this 5-minute flag set up. You see we already had one down here, broke through, kind of confirmed previous highs as support. So I smacked some against this 11 area pivot, got filled 11.1 on it. And as soon as we had this parabolic move, like overall I was looking left, I'm like, all right, this name's got lower volume on the day. I can tell every pop, you know, people are taking their profits. I'm not going to overstay my welcome. When I came into this one, it was kind of a scalp mindset. So right away we get our pop into 12s. And I took my trade off. So you can see we had the 5-minute flag here, extension into 12s, looking for 12s to hold. Overall, we got a nice little 11% off of it. When we pulled in and we couldn't hold our 12 level, I'll go in the 1 minute because that's, I believe, the time frame. So right here, we kind of formed another flag up here. And once we broke this 12 area right here, I was like, all right, yeah, people are taking their profits. I'm out. You know, let me move on. So overall, you know, good little scalp, you could call it. Yeah, so there's Pally, look for 12s to hold. Flat on remaining Pally, watching HLBZ, no pause yet. Yeah, there was no ads on HLBZ. I'll go back to it and show you where this was. So once comms started waking up, a lot of other names started waking up. And this was actually right here. So I was looking for the 5-minute setup to get through the VWAP. And like I said right here, HLBZ, want to see the VWAP break and hold. So I was looking for extension through VWAP, come back in, hold the VWAP as support. Ultimately, it didn't happen. We didn't even get over it. You could see selling pressure came in, smacked it all the way down. And that's why I didn't take any trade on HLBZ over there. Moving on now. DBGI. I was just on fire today, man. I was just going. DBGI, nice 5-minute flag set up right over here. Got long on this one at 10 cents, 10.2. So it was right over here, near the previous pivot, which would have been right over here. So you can see we kind of curled in, low VPA pullback. Buyers started stepping in. I remember every time we pulled back on the tape, buyers were slapping it. So I'm like, all right, time to get long. Let's call this out. Nice 5-minute flag setup. And then I was like, all right, where can we go? Went over to my daily, and I was like, all right, we got this 11 area pivot. I don't know why it's so like. So we got this 11 area pivot. Over 11, we could probably squeeze into 13. Over 13, I'll look for the 14, 15 area. You can see the 13 area, or I'm sorry, the 14 area right over here. So this is a very nice pivot. So we didn't get the crazy extension I wanted. However, you know, we did have a nice move. So DBGI, long 5-minute flag. Hoops is like, this guy stops, refuses to stop trading, whatever. So right away we get our open up. Took some off into 11 cents in that area. Started peeling some off here. Then I was like right here, 11.81 break, which was the highs over here, I believe. 11.81 break, then 13, so it was a 12% trade there. And then ultimately we have our last, this was 11.8 here, I'm sorry. Have our last extension into 12.5s. Then I remember flipping over to, I believe it was the 1 minute, if I'm not mistaken. And then I was like, all right, let's see if the 12s hold. DBGI give me 13 plus. And then DBGI kind of seen another 5-minute flag up there. Or I believe it was a 3-minute flag. Oh no, I believe that 5-minute flag was right here. We extended to highs. And then when this when this 11.8 area couldn't really hold, we came down. I still had a small piece. We came back up, and then right when we came up, I remember watching the tape, and the tape was really, really heavy against the 12-cent area, and that's where I took my last piece off. So overall, that one there, nice little trade again. Where is it? DBGI, here it is. Nice flag setup. We got a 16% win on that at the highs. QNRX, I'll get into this one. I'm sure it was right after this one. Comms still here. Max Payne off 3. Oh, this should have been QNRX, not comms. Oh, damn. That should have been QNRX. So QNRX later in the day, we had this big move. Missed my pullback into 290s. And then we start basing out above 3s. We kind of had this 3-minute flag set up here. You can see a nice volume pull up, low VPA pullback. At the time, this didn't happen, so this is all I really seen. It was a really nice 5-minute flag, one that I would take any day. So I got long. I believe I had 304's average. Let me double check. Yeah, I had 307 average, so right in here, right near our pivot. And ultimately, I was risking off 3. Yeah, right here. QNRX 5-minute flag long, tap in a few cents higher risk. QNRX still here, Max Payne off 3. Overall, this one ended up failing, and I posted it right over here. Failed setup, one that I'll take any day. So looking at it now, like, really nothing wrong with it. Sure, we were kind of extended. I was looking for that end of day push. I wasn't really looking for new highs. All I was really looking for was like 320 area. Overall, this is a setup I would take any day. We have, nice 5-minute pull up, 5-minute pull down, descending VPA. Then ultimately, best case scenario, this candle would have been buyers, and we would have had this move except flip to the green side, obviously, and that just didn't happen. I did get filled 295 because of how fast the candle came down. And I remember I actually wrote comms here, so I corrected it. And I actually got filled 294 on the way down. So I didn't get to get any off. Small paper cut, not really worried about it. Setup I would take any day, like I said. SNTI, this was another loser. We kind of got this 5-minute flag right here. You can see we break over this pivot. Kind of got that 5-minute flag look here. Descending VPA at the time. I got long on this one at 295. So I got long right down here into 295s. Had a pull up into 297s. Didn't get to get any off. I wanted that push through 3 and then obviously the move into VWAP. And then you could see I wrote right over here, stopped at break even. So we kind of had that move up and we kind of came down at 295, 294. That's when I took the rest off just because I was like, man, there's really no volume looking left. There's really not any volume here. This is probably just shorts covering into the end of the day. And, obviously looking into it in after hours, it probably just was. So call this one a break-even trade, really. And then my last trade of the day was HLBZ again. Had this 5-minute flag right here. You could see we had this, flat top resistance area for the kind of the whole afternoon. So right when we get over this level, you can see we push up, come down, low VPA pullback. Really nice 5-minute flag here, actually. Yeah, why is it so zoomed in? So you could see like nice pull up, low VPA pullback. I got long on a 5-minute flag, 39.9. You want to round it up, call it 40 cents, whatever. Right when I got in, the thesis of this one was I texted RCB because he's the one that kind of brought my attention to it, and I told him like, man, I feel like this is just shorts covering into the end of the day. And he's like, yeah, but like that's what we want. Shorts will help us, because if we buy in here, shorts start covering. That's added buying pressure, whatever. So we ultimately got the move into 44s. Looking at my fills, took some off at HOBZ right here, yeah. Took some off 41, took some off 43, then took my last piece off into the pullback into 42s. So nice little scalp trade, nice little win. You can see I was like, okay, let's get the move over VWAP into 45s. We had a high of 45 exactly. Didn't get any filled up here at 45. It was like really, really quick. And then I remember we had the 1 minute 3 bar, which was right here. And, you know, we kind of tried to pull up. You know, we kind of flushed. And then I noticed this 3 bar setup at the time. And I was like, all right, 1 minute 3 bar. Let's see if we could pop through VWAP into the close. And then that's when we had this pullback into 42s. And then that's when I was like flat, like literally right at 359. I sold out, and then I came here, wrote the message, and I believe as I was writing the message, the bell was ringing. And that's my day, man. Those are all my trades on the day. Let me see if there's
a lot of trading, a lot of good trading.
Yeah, there was some that I wish I didn't take, but overall it was a really solid day. But yeah, man. Normally I don't trade this much, so like I traded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, like 9 different names. Ended red on 2 of them, and the rest were either small green or decent green. So pretty happy with it. But I do feel like I overtraded. Normally I don't do that, but in a market where it's kind of a scalpy market, I feel like it's kind of necessary and okay to kind of stay alive, is just continue to trade. Oh man, look at all these guys giving me love. Hell yeah, man. But yeah, those were all my trades, and yeah, that's pretty much it.